Hello, Comp One. This is week 10. That's right, week 10. We are well into the semester. We are over halfway done. We have 7 weeks left, and this class will be over. So for most of you guys, you're doing fantastic, and I just want to keep cheering you on. Others of you guys need to do some catching up, and that is very possible as long as you do very well in the rest of the class. I graded almost all of the SA2s. I think there's maybe one or two left that I haven't gotten done today as of Monday, the 22nd, and I plan to get those finished by the end of the day today. Make sure to take a look at those. I would say probably when it comes to those of you guys who need to do some catching up, it looks like a lot of people who need to do the catching up are maybe not watching all the videos, or maybe not doing all of the readings, or maybe you're just confused. So I would be happy to help you if you want to come into my office hour. It's a virtual office hour. Let me just show you real quick where that is. Let's see, that's the syllabus. Here we go. So if you go click over here on where it says faculty, you can get into this area here. And this is my office hours. So at the 8 a.m. hour. So as of right now, I am in my office, and nobody's here. So that's why I'm recording this right now. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've said this a lot of times, generally it's going to be the 2 p.m. hour. This is also a time when I do a lot of meetings for other obligations I have. So sometimes I'm not there, just sitting there. However, I will, if you just email me and let me know, hey, Professor Coomer, I'd like to talk to you during the 2 o'clock hour on Thursday or Tuesday. I'll do everything I can to get there. And if for some reason it's just not going to work, I will make an appointment with you to meet with you. So a lot of you guys have already done this. We've made appointments to meet outside of my regular office hours. And my goal here is just to do my best to clarify any misunderstandings or just unclarities, if you will. I don't know if that's very good use of English, but basically I'm just trying to make everything clear for you so that you can do your best on this work. However, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, it does come down to you. Are you watching all the videos? Are you reading the required readings? Are you keeping up with the weekly lectures like this? So as long as you're doing that, and like I said, the vast majority of the class is doing that, and I want to just say congratulations, keep on doing it. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today, or at least this week, week 10. So if you take a look at the syllabus, these are the readings for, let's see, we've already worked on the readings. Really, week 10 is pretty straightforward. You got to finish your summaries. Now, I've had a couple people, they have brought up the wrong readings. And so a few people are not summarizing the correct things. Please, just pay attention to these videos. The summaries that you're going to summarize, again, as always, it's the 2 assigned readings from the textbook. These are the articles. And for this one, it's only natural, and then why bother? And remember, this is on essay 3, you're going to use one of those to you're going to do an analysis. And here, just a little bit, I'm going to explain this essay again, and just kind of maybe hopefully illuminate any dark spots that you might have. But your 2 summaries are going to be over. It's only natural, and that there's a web link in our essay 3 folder. If you take a quick look, we'll just show you again. It's only natural, right? And then just as always, if it's a web link, it's to the VU online library. So your citation will be easy to find. It's in that citation tool on the right. You scroll down and you've got your MLA citation right here. All you have to do is copy and paste that, and there's your citation. And as always, you can see this is the page number. There's a page range. So that's what you're going to put in the parentheses at the end of your summary. So it's very, very simple. The same thing we've been doing, just like in essay 2 with those 2 readings, we're doing the exact same thing. And if you've forgotten how to do a summary, you can always take a look at the summaries folder in our Blackboard page. So that is one of the readings you're doing your summary over. And the other reading is Why Bother, as it says here, Why Bother by Michael Pollan. And I give you the works cited entry right here for that. So you don't have to worry. I've given you the works cited entries for both of these. And as just in every case, look, the works cited entry has the page range. You put that in parentheses at the end of your summary, and you've got all of your MLA documentation that you need. And the nice thing is these summaries, you can just drop whichever one you want into your essay, and that could be your first body paragraph, because you're going to have to summarize the reading for your audience, so your audience understands what it is that you're analyzing in essay 3. So regardless of which one you summarize, I mean, you're going to summarize both of them, but you can, whichever one you're using in your essay, you can drop this summary into the first body paragraph, just like in essay 2. So make sure to take full advantage of that. That's a full paragraph that is already done by the time you finish your summary. So basically that is due. Your summaries are due by Friday midnight this week. Okay, so make sure to hand those in. By Friday midnight this week, you should have completed your outline. You don't have to hand that in, right? We don't hand that in until we hand in all of our process stuff with essay 3. But you should have a very good completed outline, because by the end of the week, you also need to have your essay basically completed, right? So even though the outline, you know, I'm saying it doesn't have to be done until Friday, I would assume, again, just like, you know, just like most of you did on essay 2, most of you have probably already completed your outline, and you're going, or either that or you're going to do it very early this week. You'll have a completed outline, and then you're going to have your rough draft, and you need to upload the rough draft by Friday at midnight. And again, that is in the discussions. So you click over here and you go to the essay 3 peer review. You're going to upload your rough draft, and that's got to be up there by Friday at midnight. Next week, we're going to be doing peer review, and that means by Wednesday of next week, you should have commented on at least 2 of your classmates' essays. And again, it's very simple, very easy to do. All you have to do is copy and paste all of these questions. And so you're going to copy this, and then let's suppose, you know, I'm going to make a comment on somebody else's peer review. Okay, maybe it would be Micah's here. Okay, great. I'm going to read the document. Of course, we're going to make sure not to hand in a Google Doc. We have to hand in an actual document. But anyway, we're going to click reply, and then you're going to just copy those questions in there, and then you're going to answer them. And you're going to give that person the best possible review that you can. And again, I guess it's a good idea. I'm glad I accidentally clicked on this, because we want to make sure we're not sharing a Google Doc. That looks like an honest mistake. And hey, you know, we all make mistakes, but we want to make sure we're sharing a Word document or a PDF, so that everybody in the class can read the essay and make comments. So that way you can get the most out of your peer review. So let's see here. So that is what we're doing. Next week, by Wednesday, you'll have that peer review. Now, if you want to get started as soon as you hand in your rough draft, that is fine. You can go ahead and do that. And if there's other people's essays up there, but just remember, to get full credit, you do need to comment on at least 2 other people's essays. And here's the nice thing about peer review. With peer review, you get to look at other people's papers, and you get to say, hey, this is how other people tackled this problem. Maybe I can learn something from that. Maybe I can help myself by just checking out how other people work. But the nice thing is, as I said in the previous video, I'm also giving you an example essay. So I really want to highlight this. If you're confused as far as what this essay should look like or what it should be doing, if you take a look at the example essay materials, I've given you an A paper to look off of. So this was a previous student of mine, and this particular student got an A on this essay. And you can you can say, okay, let's see, there's the thesis statement. I'm going to make sure my thesis statement, okay, let's see. Gregory's attempt to connect with his audience, proving his point that legalization of organ sales would benefit society, is evident. However, his supporting arguments came across as vague and lacking audience awareness. Okay, well, what can I learn from this thesis statement? Well, I'm noticing it doesn't say I think or I believe or I agree. And it's not about whether I agree or not. I'm not saying that this author was right or wrong. All I'm doing is I'm commenting on the strength of his argument. I'm saying that it was evident that he was trying to prove the legalization of organ sales would benefit society. However, his supporting arguments, and that's what the focus of this essay is going to be on, right? His supporting arguments come across as vague and lacking evidence or lacking audience awareness. So I know that the rest of this essay is going to be proving these things. Now, the first body paragraph is technically this particular student, this student could have just dropped in a summary, but the student didn't, okay? Now, this doesn't make it a better essay because the student didn't do that. This student just didn't drop in an essay or the summary. The student did what we would consider a detailed recount of the article, and that's fine. You can do that, or you can do just drop this for the first body paragraph. You can drop your summary of this article in there, and that is literally all I require is for the first body paragraph. And you got to remember, the reason why we do that is that you cannot assume that your reader is in this class. You can't assume that your teacher, am the reader, or hey, you know what I'm writing about, so I don't really need to tell you what I'm writing about. I'm just going to say what I think. That's not college level writing or communication at all, right? Whether it's an English class or just talking with people, you have to give people context for what you're saying. And that's how we're doing that. We're saying, okay, I'm going to open up, I'm just going to introduce the idea. I'm going to introduce the fact that there's this article out there, and I'm going to make a thesis statement about it. But before I really get into the deep analysis, I'm going to give you a summary of what is in the article, just in case you didn't read it yourself. This way you'll understand what the article is about. So that way, whenever I get into the little details, you have some kind of context that way you're not getting confused. Like, what are we talking about here, right? So as you go forward, you notice that each article focuses on one specific aspect of the argument or in the article. And that is all you have to do. Each paragraph focuses on one specific aspect of the article, and you're commenting on that. You're not saying I agree or I disagree in this essay. What you're doing is you're commenting on whether or not this aspect of the article makes the argument stronger for the intended audience. You have to remember what makes a strong argument. So really think about that. What makes a strong argument? Is it that you're right? If a strong argument requires you to be right, then no one would ever believe someone who was not right. And we know that's not the case, right? We know lots of people believe things that are untrue. And hey, I probably have some things that I believe that are untrue because someone made a good enough argument to me that I believe them, right? And you probably do too. We all have things that we believe, and it's not necessarily because those things are objectively true. It's because someone made a good enough case for that thing in our heads, right? And so what that means is, and maybe if you don't want to admit it for yourself, maybe you can say, well, those other people, those other people believe things that are not true because someone made a good enough case to fool them, right? So if that helps. But basically, that's what makes something believable, and it has, the reason why it's believable is because the author of the argument provided enough believable evidence for the intended audience. Okay, it's all about what the audience finds to be believable. So did this author provide enough information that the intended audience would say, okay, I think I believe this? So for you to make this kind of an essay, you need to think, okay, what is the intended audience? Who are these people? And for that, you have to do some critical thinking, right? And oh man, critical thinking, oh, I got to use my brain. But it's true, you have to do some critical thinking and really think about, okay, who is the intended audience? And it's generally, if I'm making an argument to someone, or if you're making an argument to someone, your intended audience is people who don't agree with you already, right? So there's one thing, but what do they believe? And how can I use what they believe to help them understand that I'm right? So for instance, in Why Bother, you'll find that Michael Pollan uses the fact that his audience believes that climate change is a man-made thing. Okay, you notice how he never actually tries to prove that climate change is man-made, right? He never tries to prove that because he takes it as a given that his audience already believes that. Now, in the other reading, It's Only Natural, it's a different story. This author is trying to prove to his audience that climate change is not man-made, that it's a natural phenomenon. So he understands that his audience will likely believe that climate change is man-made. So he has the job of providing evidence to an audience that doesn't already believe that. So what would make that audience change their mind? You have to think about this before you really provide analysis. So what's already worked and what hasn't worked so far, and what kind of information do you think that audience is looking for? And you might belong to one of these audiences. So think about it. If you don't believe climate change is man-made, what kind of evidence would you need to believe that it is? But if you do believe climate change is man-made, what kind of evidence would you need to believe that it isn't? So think about these things as you do your analysis. And it's not about you, okay? In this essay, it's really not about you. It's about this intended audience, the general audience that this author is trying to speak to. Because if, for instance, Michael Pollan's article is going to fall flat when it comes to an audience that does not believe climate change is man-made, okay? Because his argument is not for that group of people. His argument is for the group of people who believe climate change is man-made, but they believe that it's too big of a problem to really do anything about, and that the government needs to do stuff to make changes. His argument is that, no, it's not the government's responsibility, it's your responsibility. And so even though climate change is man-made and it's a big problem, if we all take responsibility for it, we can change the course of this problem. That's his argument. And so think about, okay, does he provide evidence for this audience that they're going to find convincing? Likewise, with the other article that we're reading, It's Only Natural. This particular guy is a scientist, so that can help. That does help when it comes to how people view him, okay? So he is actually a scientist. He's very well respected in his field. And so that helps with his ethical appeal. As you've probably already noticed with those videos that I've sent you, you have to think about that. What is your reputation? What is the reputation that you're using based off of your voice? And how do you use that whenever you develop a rapport with the audience? The audience generally, most audiences will respect a scientist who is an expert in the field that he's discussing. So that's going to play a huge role, in addition to the fact that he's able to cite specific evidence. Now, is he providing a lot of emotional appeal? Well, Michael Pollan does. Michael Pollan does a lot of emotional appeal. This other author, for some reason I've forgotten his name. Let's see here. What is his name? Let's see. Bear with me a second. This particular author, okay, It's Only Natural. And this is by Fritz Verenholt. He's got a different thing, he's got a different thing to prove. And so he's trying to objectively disprove what his audience or what his believed audience likely believes. And so they have different goals, they have different arguments, and they have to use different kinds of evidence. So your goal in this essay is to analyze this evidence. Is this likely to be convincing for the audience? Now, having said that, knowing your goal, I want you to take a look at this example essay. And the best way to look at this example essay is after examining the article that this particular student had to analyze. You're not analyzing this article. It's a pretty short article, Why Legalizing Organ Sales Would Help Save Lives and End Violence. So if you click on that, it's a pretty short article, but if you read this article and then you read the example essay, you'll know what you need to do to get an A on this paper, because I've shown you. I've just basically given you something to peek off of. This is literally what I'm asking you to do, okay? So having said that, by Friday of this week, you need to have the best possible essay that you can write. And you're gonna need to upload that to the discussion board so that by Wednesday of next week, by Wednesday at midnight next week, you'll have hopefully at least one or two people review your essay. So you get a better essay that way. And you'll review one or two people's essay next week. Next week on Friday is when the essay is due. Let's take a quick look at the syllabus again, just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page. So if you take a look, next week is week 11. The analysis essay is due on Friday at midnight. And that's whenever you're going to begin your essay 4, which is the final essay of the semester. Now, remember, if, you know, something like I said, many of you guys are doing just fine, but that's no reason to slack off now. And then others of you guys are needing to catch up or really save your grade, right? We want to pass the class. So essay 3 and essay 4, they're worth more than essay 1 and 2 were. So essay 3 is almost worth as much as essay 1 and 2 combined. So, and the same thing with essay 4. So if you're looking for your Hail Mary, if you're looking for to save your grade, now is the time to really, really get into it. Obviously, it'd be great if we would have had those points to begin with, but hey, this is where we are now. We can't go back and time. So regardless, if you're doing very well in the class or if you're doing poorly in the class, this is a time to really work hard to make sure you're handing in high quality material so that you can either continue to do well or you can turn the tide and get that passing grade that you need. So guys, if you have questions for me, please feel free to reach out. I cannot read your mind, so so please let me know if I can help you. And guys, I look forward to reading your rough drafts. Make sure they're up on the discussion board by midnight Friday. Thanks a lot. And oh, one last thing. Friday and Monday, I will not be in my office hours. So this coming Friday and then the following Monday, I will not be in my office. I will be out of town. So I have some important travel that I need to do on that weekend. So I'm not going to be in my office on Friday or on Monday. If you need me though, on those times, you can still email me. I will be checking my emails. I will not be able to do Zoom, and I will be limited as far as how much I can check my emails during that weekend, this coming weekend. But I just wanted you to know that you can still email me and I will do my best to try to get back with you. All right, guys. And that also, if you think you're going to need me, try to talk to me this week before Friday so that I can help you out. And don't wait till that last minute because I'm not going to be here over Friday and Monday. Okay, guys, that's it for this week. Good luck. And I look forward to reading your essays.